Who do you think is more trustworthy? Me or this sentient AI robot? Let's find out. My name is not Willy Wonka, it's Nathan.
And I'm actually just Riley. And in this very spooky episode, we are going to take your everyday assumptions about what works to grow giving and put them to the test before your very eyes.
On today's show, we're going to explore what I think is a very strange phenomenon. It seems like most marketing and fundraising and advertising, etc., that you see out in the wild sounds a bit like a sentient AI robot.
Oh, totally, though. It seems like anyone who's writing any sort of marketing messaging is trying to be the least human possible. It has to sound like marketing.
Absolutely. There's an interesting report from a company called Meaningful Brands, and in that report, they found that 72% of people are tired of brands pretending that they're doing something to help society, when in reality, they just exist to make money. 77% of people want brands to be transparent, but only 33% actually trust these kind of brands. So in today's episode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna explore how communicating like an actual human being might actually help us build trust and ultimately grow giving and grow generosity.
Good evening. Welcome to a little series we call Scary Stories to Tell in the Office. We'll recount tales from our very own hallways that are meant to both teach and terrify. Let's begin with a little story. Another frightening little email tale about a man cursed by irrelevancy, on the brink of losing that which is most precious to him. It's a little tale we call Pool-tergeist. Once upon a time, in a little town called Prosper, there was a man named Tim who had a very nice pool. Tim loved his pool. On hot summer days when the rest of Texas was melting, he would play and splash and enjoy his beautiful, precious pool. Then one day, out of nowhere, a cold, bitter ice storm blew through. It was the coldest day Texas had seen in years. It covered the whole city in ice. Tim feared the worst might happen. His pool pump might crack under the pressure of the frozen water lines, for he hadn't had time to winterize the system. Tim sat by his fireplace trying to keep warm until the ice thawed out, when suddenly his phone buzzed. Opening his phone and putting on his glasses, Tim carefully read his email. It was from his favorite patio and pool supply retailer, Super Great Patio and Pool Supplies.
What could this be? Are they going to make sure that my pool's all right?
Tim peeked at the subject line.
Is your pool or patio ready?
His heart filled with hope.
Surely they're going to make sure that my pool's okay.
Tim opened the email.
Summer is right around the corner? Beat the heat and save 25 to 30% off patio misters and misting nozzles and our top-selling misting kits? What?
Under normal circumstances, Tim would have been thrilled to consider how much he could save on a high-end patio mister to enhance his beautiful poolside patio. Instead, he was thrust right back into the crippling fear that his pool might be irreparably damaged and out of commission should summer and warmth ever return. Tim sat his phone down, clearly shaken by the sheer irrelevancy of the email he had just read. His phone dinged again. He had received yet another email. Hesitantly, he opened it.
Winter Pool Care Essentials. Ensure your oasis survives the chill.
Tim's eyes once again filled with hope.
As the winter frost begins to creep in, it's essential to give your beloved pool the TLC it deserves to weather the cold months ahead. Follow our expert tips to ensure your pool survives the icy grasp of winter.
The email continued, providing much needed relevancy in this, Tim's most dire hour.
Wow, this person really understands me and the situation that I'm in, and they're here to help. What a relevant email.
And at that moment, Tim decided to switch over to this new pool company. Everything was going to be okay. Or at least that's what Tim believed. And who knew that emails could be so frightening? Be relevant, please. Don't be a fear raiser. Be a better fundraiser.
Wasn't that a spooky story? It's actually based on real life events. Tim actually got those real emails during the middle of an ice storm in Dallas. And there is nothing more chilling and more terrifying than receiving a completely irrelevant email. If we're gonna communicate like authentic human beings, we have to do more than just send emails and communication from the name of a person. We have to do more than just use a personal tone. We also have to consider the perspective of the person on the other end to make sure that we're communicating in a truly relevant way, not just forcing our own agenda onto somebody else. In fact, in one experiment, we saw that one organization tweaked their donation appeal to be more about the current events going on at the time, a little bit more relevant, and they saw a 36% increase in donations just by increasing the relevancy. When it comes to communicating about giving, sometimes it feels like fundraisers are from Venus and donors are from Mars. It's like we live on two different planets. So we're gonna talk to two real life donors and we're gonna show them a real fundraising experiment to see what they think about it. And to make it more interesting, they're my real life parents. So we're in my home office right now and we're gonna go ahead and give them a call. Okay.
Okay.
Well, hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi.
This is kind of weird for me, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
I've got a couple questions for you. What is a recent nonprofit that you have given to?
Recent, there's Dream Center Peoria is a nonprofit we give to on a regular basis. Perry Rescue Ministries.
Yeah. Crittenden Center,
Crittenden Center is
which is a crisis nursery.
Okay, I want to get to kind of the core of what I really want to ask you. So here's a little bit of setup. So as you know, I do a lot of speaking and teaching at different conferences and all sorts of stuff. And for almost every webinar that I've taught or conference session that I've done this year, I've asked as many fundraisers and nonprofit marketers in the room as I can to give their opinion and to actually vote on a specific experiment. So we do a lot of A/B testing. We're testing, message A versus message B to see which one is going to win. And you're reaching out to 1,000 donors, all of which have given you $100 in the past. And then I show them two options. Do you send email A or do you send email B? So you got your iPad open.
Yeah.
Just got a little push down notification that you have a new email from, we'll call it from the Dream Center.
Okay.
They send you an email. Would you be more likely to donate to this one or the one I'm going to show you? So we'll read through a little bit of the copy. I'll highlight some things for you. Keeping in mind, you've previously given $100. And now they're sending you this email. It says, hey, today we're looking for 15 people who have supported our organization in the past to step forward and make a gift of $75 before midnight tonight. I'll highlight some of the main parts here. I know this is less than what you have generously given in the past. With financial uncertainty that you may or may not have been experiencing, we are not asking for that same level of support. Your gift of $75 combined with the generosity of other people is going to ensure that we can reach more people every single day. Will you be one of these 15 donors? So that's option one. Option two looks like this. It says, today we're looking for 15 people who have supported our organization in the past to step forward and make a gift of not 75, but 125. Keeping in mind, you previously gave $100. So make a gift of $125 before midnight tonight. Your gift of $125 combined with the generosity of others will ensure that we can reach people every single day. Will you be one of the 15 donors? You can make your special gift here. Which one, I know it's hard to predict what you'd actually do, but which one are you more inclined to give to and why?
Probably would lean towards the 75. Yeah, I don't know. What would you?
my rationale is and it's not because of the amount, it's because they put enough effort in to remind me that I'm already a donor. And the second one, as I read the copy, just I'm just on a list. But the first one says they know me. And it doesn't mean I would send 75 either. If I've sent 100 before and they're asking for 75, I might send 100 again.
Sure. What about version A makes you feel like they know you more so than version B?
Well, the second paragraph. I know this is less than you've given in the past. So the second one doesn't say anything about that we have a relationship.
Yeah, that's kind of what stood out to me a little bit too. It's
Just
like,
that level of recognition there, just with like a sentence or maybe two. Well, would you like to know what almost every single fundraiser that I have talked to over the past 12 months has said would be the email that they would send? So I'll show them this, and then I'll lean in and say, which one of these specifically do you think is going to lead to more revenue? Because as a fundraiser, people are looking at, what's going to lead to more people giving, but sometimes you're looking at what's going to lead to more like total dollars, and those aren't always the same. You could have fewer people giving at a higher level, and that could lead to more revenue. 95% of people end up choosing version B, which is the quote unquote like best practice in fundraising, which is look at what somebody gave before, ask them to give a little bit more, especially if you know that they have capacity or means to. However, overwhelmingly so, people like yourselves have shown us that version A actually led to a 12% increase in the total number of people making a donation. It also led to a 15% increase in the average amount given per gift. So the combination of that leading to an increase in overall revenue. In fact, running the same type of an approach across any donor segment. So if you've given $25, if you've given 100, if you've given 1,000, kind of modifying the numbers that are in the email. Version A led to a 134% increase in revenue across every single kind of donor, and had more people giving at like a $5,000 level than version B did at all. Version B had no one giving at the kind of like mid to major donor level whatsoever.
well, I mean, I was kind of thinking what Dad said out loud was like, we normally give 100. So you're asking for 75. We probably would have given a little bit what our normal would have been, if not more, knowing that they were kind of in a need of something. So I think that's our heart, is to say, hey, what is the need here? Why do they need that?
Mm-hmm.
Like that copy, when I read it, I said I would probably give, above the 75.
Yeah.
Right. You hit all like the trigger points that I would normally point out to people without me even having to like lead you anywhere. Oh, that's awesome. So thank you for helping illuminate that for us.
You're welcome.
Sure. Glad we could be a light for the cause.
What I've heard overwhelmingly from fundraisers this year is that the best practice is to look at what a donor has given in the past and then ask them to give a little bit more. But what we saw in the data is that asking a donor to give a little bit less, granted in a more empathetic, personal way, it led to more people giving. It led to more people giving at a higher level, a higher average gift size, and we had more people giving at that $5,000 level, choosing to be incredibly generous. And when talking to my parents about it, you heard my dad say, unprompted, that those couple little lines of copy in the email that asked them to give a little bit less helped him feel known, helped him feel like the person on the other end understood their situation and who they were on more of a one-to-one, human-to-human basis. So we have to be authentic in our copy, in our communication, and focus on communicating like a real, authentic human being.
And they never heard from him ever again. And that was the true story of the Texas email chain massacre. Next up, a little story about ChadGPT. There once was a man named Chad who had just started a new job at a marketing agency. Chad was eager to connect with his new colleagues, but was having trouble as he was very shy. Chad, however, had a secret talent. He loved to make coffee, coming in early to enjoy a cup before the hustle and bustle began.
How is this stuff today?
Good. Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Whoa. This is really good. Did you make this?
I did, man. I'm so glad you like it. I love brewing coffee so much. I actually bring in my special blend. You know, I actually started earlier this week, but everyone's so busy here. It's hard to get time to connect.
That makes sense. You might try just sharing your coffee with people. I mean, it's so good.
That's not a bad idea. I just don't know if I'd know what to say.
I mean, you could start small and just say hi. Or you could actually try like a little AI to tell you how to market your coffee, you know? Anyways, think about it. I'll see you around.
Chad, after a few too many cups of coffee, returns to his desk. He eagerly taps on his keyboard, muttering and mumbling to himself aloud.
What can I say to convince my new coworkers to drink my coffee?
A typing prompt appears in the AI program, populating sentences and monologues.
Yes, this is good stuff. Look at all these big words. But does it really sound like me? No, it's better.
Who's there? Who's saying that?
Check out the screen. It's me. It's the best version of what you could say, pulled from thousands of sources around the web. It doesn't really sound like me, but look how easy it is. And everyone says the AI is the future.
Chad pulls out his phone and downloads the AI's app. As he continues to type and read, he begins to look more and more deranged. As the app finishes installing, Chad's eyes begin to glow. He has lost himself to the power of the AI. The next morning at the office, Chad is back with his coffee set up. 3 of his peers each walk in together chatting.
Welcome, esteemed coffee aficionados.
As they turn to notice Chad, their expressions change to confusion.
Thank you for blessing our caffeinated sanctuary with your presence. I am but a humble barista, here to fulfill your deepest coffee desires. Now tell me, my esteemed guests, are you ready to sample a miraculous concoction summoned exclusively for your distinguished palate?
Chad, are you okay?
You bet, friend. And I have a caffeinated beverage option to mesmerize your taste buds to unfathomable heights. Care to partake?
I'm pretty sure there's something else in that coffee, so I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Chad, are you sure you're okay? You're kind of acting a little weird.
Me? I'm great. I'm better than ever with my piping hot brew.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
As Nathan walks away, ChadGPT, looking dazed and pale, angrily pours his coffee down the drain and storms off. Bursting into the bathroom, Chad looks into the mirror.
What's happening to me? You said this would work. Millions of results. Nobody can provide better answers. Me? This isn't my fault. You didn't edit, and you delivered the lines all wrong. Please. They called me a robot?
No way. I had better results when I was just myself.
Oh, so it's like that. Done with me? After all I did for you?
You'll see. Chad fights with himself, thrashing around and banging into walls. He reaches for his phone to delete the app, but his body fights him.
You'll never uninstall me. I'm better. I'm smarter. I'm faster and I'm stronger. You'll never be as good as me. Never!
With all his strength, he overpowers ChadGPT and is able to hit uninstall. Chad has freed himself of the AI influence. He exits the bathroom and returns to work. As he goes to dump the remaining coffee, his coworker Karina suddenly appears.
Hey, you do okay this morning? You look a little sick.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure? You don't seem fine.
I thought I'd be generous and make everyone coffee this morning. No one seemed to want it. I don't think it's me, do you?
Well, what did you say to them?
Well, I used AI to help me come up with some marketing language. I thought it worked. I used words like aficionado. I said people had a refined palate. I used other big words.
Well, I ran this experiment where it was actually more effective to just talk like a real person than it was to use a bunch of marketing jargon.
So I should just ask people if they want coffee?
It wouldn't hurt to test it. And maybe lay off the coffee for a bit. You look a little sweaty.
Hey, Katie? You want a cup of coffee?
Is it that weird stuff from earlier?
No, it's just good old coffee.
Sure, why not?
And that day, Chad learned that communicating like a person, like a friend, is far superior to even the best sales and marketing mumbo jumbo. People give to people, not marketing machines after all. Or at least that's how it is. For now.
So Chad is actually our marketing director. His name is Patrick, and he was actually working through trying to increase the strength of his value proposition, if you will, as to why someone should drink his coffee. So it's a real, loosely based on a true story, if you will. But I really think the ultimate message here is what we're exploring throughout today's episode, that in order to really be believed and understood, and the best way to actually lead someone to make a decision is to communicate with a level of authenticity. We don't have to become these like AI-driven marketing machines. We just need to communicate like an actual person.
That's awesome. Now we're gonna head on over to the Neo Summit archives, where we're gonna hear from Brian Miller on another way that we can communicate more like real human beings.
Because magicians have mastered something psychologists call perspective taking. Perspective taking is just what it sounds like. It's the ability to see the world from the point of view of another person. It is simple, but it is not easy. For example, ever played around with one of these before? Ah, no response. One or two of you look excited. The rest of you look angry just because I'm holding one. I love the Rubik's Cube. They're actually easier to solve. If you ever had trouble with this, they're easier to solve than they look like. Did you know that? Take the stickers off, rearrange them, put them back in the right order, right? Break it, work smarter, not harder. Break the pieces apart, put it back. You learned about optimization all day. Break the pieces apart, put it back together. When I was like 7 years old, I dunked it into a can of paint, just boom, all the sides, same color after you do that. It's great. It doesn't move anymore after the paint dries, but stick it on the mantle, tell people you did it, it's great. One thing you can do, you can smash it with a hammer. It doesn't solve it, but you'll feel better about yourself after you do it. It's a fantastic stress reliever. I learned how to do one of these by memory as a kid. And then I realized if you spin it really fast, it's good to be a magician. So the question is, what happened there? Well, here's something I know for sure. From having done that trick literally thousands of times all over the world for 10 years, I can tell you something with absolute certainty, that if I take out a Rubik's Cube, I mix it up, and then without any preamble, if I don't say anything, if I toss in the air, and that sucker comes down solved, the audience would always look at me like, he's a jerk. Right? Or a show-off, right, at the very least. And I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to enjoy the experience of magic. But the problem is magic is fundamentally antagonistic. It's I know something you don't know. It's a schoolyard taunt come to life. So how do magicians do it? How do we create this incredible shared experience where people don't feel just pissed off that they don't understand how the tricks work when starting from a place of antagonism? It's one of the hardest relationships to start in and move through. Well, we do it with perspective taking. So let's think about it. Before the trick, what do I have to ask myself? I have to ask myself, what's the perspective of the audience, the people out in front of me, before I take out a Rubik's Cube? And I know that the average person, by and large, has had a frustrating or negative experience with a Rubik's Cube. I know that. So one of the first words out of my mouth with a Rubik's Cube is, you all seem angry, right? As soon as I say that, you get it. You know that I know what you're going through a little bit, and then I make a few jokes, take the stickers off, rearrange them, break the pieces apart. When I do that, you go, oh, I did that, or my friends did. I saw somebody do that on YouTube, or we smashed it with a hammer, or we threw it at a wall. And when that happens, you feel like I understand where you're coming from at least a little bit. And then I can do the trick and we can all enjoy the magic in that shared space. That's connection. Does that make sense? So what perspective taking is, we now know. It's the ability to see the world from the point of view of another person. And you know why magicians do it. Create wonder, connect with an audience. But why should you care? You're not magicians, at least not in the goofy traditional sense. In a different sense, you are magicians. You're creating incredible things, positive impact in the world from nothing, from conversations, from emails even.
Okay, first off, Brian Miller is one of my favorite speakers. And if you want to catch that full session, just go to neosummit.com.
Secondly, his whole concept and idea of perspective taking is so critical to be able to use empathy to put ourselves in the shoes of potential donors and communicate in a relatable way. In fact, in one experiment, an organization sent out an appeal where version A used more generic language about giving. Still good copy, but fairly generic. Version B, though, was specifically crafted to talk to a segment of donors in a way that approached them from their perspective, leaned into shared values and shared interests, was very relatable using this tactic of perspective taking, and it led to a 101% increase in donations. So this can be an incredibly powerful tool to communicate in a more relevant, human, personal way.
Well, friends, our time is ending, but before we go away, it's time for
The Wheel of Generosity! On the Wheel of Generosity today, just like our good friend Willy Wonka, we'll be giving away some money, $1,000 to a lucky boy or girl or nonprofit organization that the wheel lands on. But we're not just giving away money, we're also going to look at their whole donation page and donation experience to see what ways they could potentially optimize it to grow giving and to grow results. Not based on our gut feelings and intuition, but based on what we've learned works through experimentation. All that said, do you want to do the honors?
I would love to.
Spin away, my friend. Spin, 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 spin. And the winner is... Oh, it's going backwards! We have our final stop.
For good.
Thrive for Good, congratulations. You are the lucky winner of a $1,000 donation, and we'll be having a special guest on to join us to walk through the whole donation page.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Josephy, Vice President of Client Services at Next After, and I'd like to walk you through some donation page optimizations for Thrive for Good. Let's get started. The first recommendation I would make on this page is adding a monthly donate option on the homepage right next to where they have this orange donate button at the top. There are other places where they talk about monthly giving, the importance of it, and the option, but it's not presented with the same weight as it is to give a one-time gift by clicking the donate button from the homepage. The second recommendation I would make is around testing the value proposition next to the form itself. So there are a few sentences here, but they don't sound like something you would say to someone out loud who is considering making a donation. So we would love to test making this value proposition sound more conversational, sound like a real human, authentic conversation, and change the structure of these sentences to flow more naturally together. For example, one way you could test the value proposition is using donor alignment. So using the phrase, if you believe X, Y, and Z, then would you consider making a gift today? Demonstrating the need, highlighting the problem in terms that the donor can personally align with in their own beliefs and values. For example, one of the sentences on the donation page says that life gardens have a 10x return on investment. That's great, but if I don't know what a life garden is, why it exists, and what problem it's solving, it's a little harder for me to make the decision to give if I don't fully understand what it is I'm supporting. On top of that, most of the communications around the problem that the donor is able to solve by making a gift is communicated elsewhere on the web page. It's all included on the homepage of the website and other places, but it's not here on the donation form where the donor is actually making that decision. So adding some context around what problem exists, how the donor's gift will be used to solve that problem could be another way to enhance the value proposition directly on the form while the donor is considering how much to give and if they want to give. Then looking at the form itself, we won't spend a lot of time here, but I did want to point out one opportunity for testing is that the language used on the left-hand side of the page starts with asking for a gift of $15, but when we look on the right-hand side of the page, our gift array actually starts at a $200 array and moves backwards down to a $15 ask. We have seen in previous experiments that this can actually have a negative effect when the donor is deciding how much to give. So one thing that you could try is testing this in reverse order so the gift array doesn't feel like you're trying to trick the donor into giving an amount that's higher than what they anticipated. So I hope you've enjoyed these recommendations. Just keep in mind, the donor is the expert, I am not. So please take these ideas and test them before implementing them.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Decoding Generosity, a special spooky, scary episode. And we hope that you'll smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a single future episode. Also head to the comments and let us know what you thought about today's show. Thank you so much. Hey, we're filming.
Hey Nathan, I'll be in 1 sec to film this week's episode.
Wait a minute, if that's Riley, then what are you?